Hello everyone, welcome to the 30th iOS tutorial. In this tutorial, we will start talking about data persistency. It means that if the user kills the app or they go out of the screen, it will save the data once they come back to the screen. And this part, we just stored some light data like defaults, some preferences, and these stuff. We stored it in NSUserDefaults. This is an API. And NSUserDefaults can save some specific types of data. And these types are limited to NSArray, NSDictionary, NSNumber, NSString, NSData, and NSDate. And if our data is other than these types, we have to at first convert it to this type, and then we can save it. Also, we will talk about UISwitch and some of the UISwitch API, which is if it's on or if it's off, or we can set it on or set it off. That's all for it, so let's move on. Okay, here's the final product that we are going to create. It has a username field, password field, and remember me switch. And if I put something for the username here, and I turn the remember me on, and then I press login, it doesn't log in, we just want to simulate something, but I just want to show you that it saves the username if we have this remember me on. If I kill the app by just double tap on a home button and remove it, and then go back to the app, we should see the username still there because remember me switch was on. But if I click it off and then log in, next time I come back here, it should not be there. So then I remove the app, and if I come back, the username is gone. Okay, let's create a new project. New Xcode project, single view, and we call it user defaults. And it's for iPhone and it's Objective-C. We save it. And here is our app. So let's create the user interface first. We need a username label. So we use the blue guidelines. And if you don't know how to use auto layout, you can watch our auto layout tutorial. And the text field here underneath username label, we need another. You can just copy paste it again, and Control C and then Control V. We use a blue guideline. So username, this one should be password. And we also have remember me switch. So let's put it here first and then add the label. Remember me. And again, we should be careful about using these blue guidelines. And I wanted the whole width. Okay. Oh, we don't need to use it. Okay, username. It's one word actually. Okay. Now we can connect to our class. Our view controller is our class. So let's connect these outlets together. So let's get some space here. And it has by default view did load. Let's remove these commented out code. We don't need this code as well. And what we need here, we need to connect the username field and create the property for it. So we call it username field. And we don't need a password for this tutorial, but maybe in your actual application, of course, you do need it. We need a switch. We call it remember me switch. And we forgot to add a button to submit. We add this button here. Let's add it in the middle. And we call it login. Login. Okay. I don't go through the auto layout. You can just add it by yourself, but that's the simple UI. So let's put the implementation for this and connect this, give it the action actually. First of all, it's UI button, and then we call it login. That's all we need to do with the user interface. Let's go to the one editor, which is our view controller. Okay, the first thing that we want to do when the user presses the login button, we want to save whatever the value of username filled into the property list or user defaults. So here's the API. It's not that complicated. We can just use it as it is. NSUserDefaults, and then standard user defaults. Then we can say we want to save it, so we can say set value, and now we set the value that we want to save. Okay, self, let me get some more space here. Self, this is the value that we want to store, username field dot text. We want to get the text value of the username field, and we should get the key for this. So whenever we want to call it, we should call this key and it returns the value. So we get a key of username. We call this key username. So how to retrieve it? We can just say here from view did load, when user comes into the screen, this is the best place to add our username value into the field. We can say if the field is, we don't put the if statement, but just we can say username field.text. When view did load is rendered, we can set this value by just saying NSUserDefaults. We just copy paste it here, and then say set string for value. Sorry, string for key. Now we call our key. Okay, so we call our key username. So save it and we can run it. So it basically, when we click on login button, it saves it, and once we come back to the screen, it retrieve it and add it to the text field. That's all it's doing right now. It doesn't relate to switch yet. We will add logic for switch, but for now we just save it and show it to the screen. So let's see what would happen if I hit Huckstack as a username, and then it doesn't matter if I save it or remember me switch or not. I just add this. Okay, we log in, and then we press home button. It of course crashed because we just killed the app. So if we open it, user defaults, the username is there because we saved it by logging. Now it's the time to add our logic for switch. If right now test the application, username, if I press login and then kill the app, and of course it goes through an exception because we killed the app, and then come back, it's there, and if I remove it or added something else, although the remember me switch is off, but it will still remember it because we didn't add logic for the remember me switch. It's still there. So let's add this logic. First of all, this remember me, when we come back, it's still off. So we have to add logic to remember the state as well. So if the user press on, it should remember it the next time that user come back. So let's add this logic exactly like the one that we did here. When they press login, we want to save the state of the switch as well. So I just copy paste this here, but instead of set value, this time I use another API. It's called setBool, and we set the boolean and we say, okay, self.rememberMe. We save the state, self.rememberMe switch, and it has API is on, and it returns true if the switch is on and returns false if the switch is off. So, and we call it for remember state. This is the key for this part. Let's remove the rest. Yes, so this is the key for remember me switch. I call it switch state. You can call it whatever you want, but I want to call it switch state. So call it switch state, then we retrieve it on the login page. So we say, how do we retrieve it? And we can set on or off of the switch with an API called, let's first of all call it remember me switch, and then we can say set on, and then we create a boolean. We can say yes or no, but here we should use the NSUserDefaults to see what user actually set it. So we copy paste this, or we can just write it down. We can say bool NSUserDefaults bool for key and the key that we defined here. So we add it here and semicolon. Now this time when we run the program, it will remember the state of the switch as well. So if it's right now, I can call it on. When I press login, it is on. If I kill the app, the reason that I'm killing the app this way is because I want to make sure the data is persistent and it's not going anywhere by killing the app. See, the remember me switch this time is on. It was not off this time because it goes to the login and it see if it's on or off, and then it set it based on what user set. So right now it's kind of like done, but we have to add the logic to see when they turn it off, we don't want to save the username. Right now, if I turn it off and log in and then kill the app, if I go back, I would still see the username because we didn't add logic or if statement to do it. We do it every time. So here's the logic that we can add for the login. We can say if this statement or self dot remember me switch dot is on, the same thing that we used here. If it's on, then we want to set the value. So we add this line of code inside of the if statement. So if it's on, I want to set it. I want to store it, sorry. And same thing on the viewDidLoad. First of all, we get the boolean of the switch to see if it's on or off. Then we do this exact same thing here. If a statement here. I just copy paste it here, and then we can. Okay, so now it will retrieve the username if and only if it's the switch is on. So let's play the program, and I add Hoxtech is a username. I save it, and then I log in, and I kill the app permanently. Okay, I come back to the app. The Hoxtech is on. I turn it off, and next time I come in, it should not be there. And I kill the app to make sure that the data is persistent. Now the username is gone. That's all for this tutorial. It's very light data. It will save very light data, just some small strings, just some Boolean values and these stuff. For big data, we have more powerful database. That's all for this tutorial. Until next time.